Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk about a very special experience I had that led to an ego death. So, like the past couple months, I've kind of been feeling this kind of new spiritual awakening happening. And of course, when we up level, there's certain mental frameworks and attachments that need to die with that. And the synchronicities leading up to this event, of course, are always just very profound. And so I'm like really excited to share this experience. So a couple weeks ago, I pulled a few cards from my Isis Oracle deck. I call her Goddess Aset. That's my lady, we're close. And let me go to, so I pulled the Proper Burial for Freedom card. And I'm just going to read a little bit from that. In order for life to flow and express itself, that which belongs to the world of death must be released. There is nothing to be gained and everything to be lost by trying to hold on to which no longer serves us, which is better left to die, though it takes great spiritual courage and trust to allow this to happen. Osiris, Lord of the Dead, guides you now to release that which no longer needs to be a part of your life, so that you may be free. You need to see something through and let it go so that you are free from it. Your energy field is somehow haunted by the past or drained by attachments that are no longer necessary for your growth. There is so much beauty and fullness waiting for you right now, beloved initiate. There is no need to further hold on to the past. Do not be scared. You are supported so utterly and completely in this deep healing release now, and all involved will benefit from the healing change. It is not abandoning what you have loved. To give it a full and proper burial is in fact honoring and allowing what you are releasing to return to the pure love and light of the source. So I pulled this a few weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, it didn't fully hit or anything, and I kind of just let it go. And my daily spreads for the past couple weeks, I've been pulling the 10 of Swords a lot. And in my yearly spread, so what I did in January, the card that I pulled for my mind for the year was the 10 of Swords. And I'm like, buck, I love that thunder. Thank you. I knew that there was an ego death to be had. So on the summer solstice, I did a tarot spread, and it's just one I found off the internet. And one of the card placements for this needs to be buried. And I was like, okay. And it was the 10 of Swords. And I'm like, oh, okay. And another card was for, how is this affecting my life? And I pull the Wheel of Fortune. And to me, the wheel turns, and I feel like it's a surrendering and a flow to the luck and fortune in your life. And how I interpreted that as how it's affecting my life is me trying to control the wheel. Very hypervigilant person. I'm a control freak in a lot of ways. And so, also on the summer solstice, I pulled another card from my Isis Oracle deck, and it was the Temple of Carnelian. And it was just another nice synchronicity because carnelian is a stone that is often used during the summer solstice. And I did a ritual with it where I went into the deep belly pyramid with Sekhmet and gave her all of the mindsets, all of the heaviness that I just wanted to release into the flame and transform into something new. So this is all going, and last night we had a sound bath at Quartz. And I kind of could feel a release about to happen, but I didn't know, of course, the journey that I was going to be brought through with the sound bath. So I wrote about it last night when I got home. So this is a very, very rough draft of my thoughts on the whole thing. But I will just get started. I attended my own funeral tonight. This burial was preceded by a slow and steady descent into the death process. 10 of Swords has been coming up a lot for me in daily readings, and I pulled oracle cards from my Goddess Aset deck that seems to correlate with this process. There was a part of me that had to die, a part of my ego I have identified with for too long. This sound bath was different. I was so, my energy was rising out of my body. It was almost like astral projection, like I was like there's parts of me that needed to leave. And when the sound bath practitioner, she started beating the drum, which is one of my favorite instruments, I always like go right to this portal of, stomping around a fire and just feeling my energy and moving it through. And I was dancing around the fire. I felt really embodied and powerful, as I normally do. And then suddenly I was laying face down next to the fire with 10 swords in my back. I reached around and pulled out every single one, counting each one as I did so. And it didn't hurt, it felt relieving, like taking out acupuncture needles. I stood up and I felt the blood fall down my back as I grounded my energy and feet into the earth and felt this powerful surge. It was very different, this feeling I had. It was when it's like all parts of me were in my heart. So I started dancing around the fire again, and I felt my body was a light body this time. Like the image of it was pure, like white light, and it's the part of me that I often go to when I feel so completely in my power, but it still felt different. It felt lighter and freer. And so as I danced around the fire this time, it was with an embodiment I've been longing for. There wasn't anything about my movements that was overthought or hypervigilant. I was wide open and moving to the beat inside my soul. The next instruments that started to play, I can't remember what they are, but they're the ones that sound kind of like spooky and ominous. And that like prompted me to jump through this portal. Like I knew where I had to go. It's the part of my psyche. It's my shadow realm. It's like hellfire. It's like in a cave. It's dark. There's demons just running amok. But I knew I had to go to this cave where my demons reside. And I walked in with no shame and no fear. The demons tried to get my attention like always, but I knew I had one mission, and it was to go and get the part of me that was trapped in this prison cell. And it's like she's always in there. I do talk to her, this like that inner child work, but it's like I couldn't ever get her out. And it was different this time too, in that in my nightmares where it's like I tell the demons to go away, they'll laugh at me. Like I command my space and they laugh. And this time though, I realized what was different was that my words didn't match my energy because there was still so much fear. And so this time I commanded the space not by force, but by sheer presence and power. I sent energy their way that alchemized them back into pure consciousness. When I would see them, I kind of just like threw energy at them. I think it was definitely like a love energy, but it wasn't it wasn't out of fear. And then they just kind of did this little sparkly like and dissipated into what I felt was just like into my consciousness. So I finally got to the cell and I walked slowly up there, and I just sat next to her. Like she didn't come out yet or anything. And then she comes out and it's the like nails on the ground and just like pulling herself up, and she looks at me with so much pain, and she looked old, but not by age, but just by her energy, and her hair was mangled and she was wearing a hospital gown. And I asked her who she was, and she pointed at me, and she was in so much pain. I knew which version of me this was. It's the one that feels out of control. It's the one that feels like every moment is a test. The one that survives at all costs. It was this version of me that at any moment my mind could implode on itself. The version of me where death whispers at every corner. I said no more, and I sat with her and I pulled her out and I took her in my arms like this. I didn't rush out of the cave, which is my personal hellscape. I walked with dignity and respect, and I wasn't afraid of what was behind me. And that's normally like my psyche. It's like there's something behind me that's just waiting to get me. I wasn't afraid. When I stepped into the light, I was transported to a beach, and I held her in between my legs and let her feel the sunlight on her face. And then I just felt this just uncomfortableness within her, and she got up and she just screamed bloody murder, like deep guttural screams, and like this black substance was pouring out of her body, and I could feel like it was so stuck. I could feel it wanting to like it got through all like to the solar plexus, but it needed to get into like the sacral and root, and so I'm like helping her like pull it out, and like I'm throwing it into the light to be like alchemized. And I could feel the energies like starting to lift from that root, and then I feel like it finally all released, and then I held her in my arms again, and I felt like I needed to walk her into the water. And I baptized her in the water. Like I just felt the need to just like immerse her in the water, and I felt like her soul cleanse. And this is also the time when it's like she locked eyes with me, and my stomach dropped because now I realized what I had to do. I had to let her go. I had to bury her. And like my whole body like locked up, and I'm just like, no, like I can't let her go. And I fought myself over it. I cried. I felt like I wasn't ready. I loved her. She's the fighter. She protected me, and she held me for so long. But now I'm holding her, and it felt so wrong to let her go. But I know that she deserves peace. And so I put her in a coffin, and I filled it with flowers, and I carved a love letter on the top. I pushed her out at sea, and I went back and sat on the beach as I watched the waves slowly drift her away. She was my only way through the dark, and she was the anchor to my everything. And I love her so much for that, because her strength truly moves mountains. And I apologize to her for holding her there so long. I then saw the angels come down, and they lifted her soul and put it into the sun. And I had this feeling that I'm just so happy that she's at peace. In the last part of the vision, which then the sound bath practitioner was so wild, it like she was ending the session, and she came and like just put this like stripe across my forehead that felt like it sealed everything. And I felt the sun come out and warm my skin. And I realized that whenever I felt that, it's her shining down on me, loving me from a place of peace and acceptance. So that was my burial and my ego death, and it just felt like a long time coming. So